Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ba'd fa'udhu billahi min bismillahir rahmanir rahim. قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما صدق الله العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Two things I want to mention today. One is with regards to the moon sighting situation. If you imagine a country and that country's government is an Islamic government, that Islamic government is, for example, responsible for appointing the imams in the masjids. So with regards to who's going to be the imam, in which masjid, who's going to lead the Jummah, etc., the government is responsible. Government pays their salaries, government appoints them. If they need removing, the government will remove them, etc. But it's all government control. Similarly, what would happen regarding Eid is the government would make a governmental announcement regarding the beginning of Ramadan, the end of Ramadan, and the beginning of Eid. In reality, in traditional Islamic law, this is a governmental level issue. It's a government thing that they have to do. So, because we don't have an Islamic government here, then the question is, who has the right to declare when Ramadan is going to begin or when Eid's going to be? The answer is no one has the authority. But because no one has the authority, everyone has the authority. See the point here? Because the government would appoint, for example, in BD8 would say, right, you're the imam of BD8 and you're going to lead in this masjid in BD8, you're going to be the imam. Government. In the absence of a government, what will happen? The community will appoint an imam and say, you'll be our imam. Because in the absence of a government level allocation and they're saying, you'll go there, then the community says, well, there's no government, so we ourselves have a need and we will appoint an imam for ourselves in our locality. What happens with the moon situation? That every group of people will appoint their teacher or their mufti or their pir or their sheikh as the final word of the judge, etc. The judge and the jury. Then because there's so many pirs out there and every pir is the top guy, right? And there's no match to him, then there's mayhem. Understand the problem we're in now? Now, when it comes to how do we establish that a new month has started, generally speaking, there's two ways. The Hanafi way is it's based on the sighting of the moon. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, with regards to the moon, Sumu li ru'yatihi wafturu li ru'yatihi. Start your month by seeing it and end your month by seeing it, meaning Ramadan, and all the months. We start Ramadan by Sumu li ru'yatihi, fast by seeing it. And you finish your fasting, meaning end Ramadan and start Eid by seeing it. Then the Prophet mentioned the same hadith that if the conditions basically are not suitable for seeing the moon, then complete 30 days. So it's a very simple instruction in that sense. The Hanafi view is what? That the moon has to be, you have to attempt to sight the moon. So what will happen on Thursday night is Thursday night, attempts will be made to sight the moon worldwide. If the moon has been sighted, then the witnesses need to be brought forth, and then they need to come before the judge, and then the judge needs to say, who are these people, and are they credible witnesses, and where did they see the moon, and all of this business, and how many people saw it. Then, for example, Eid will be announced, and they will say, okay, 29 days in, moon's been seen, now next day is going to be Eid al-Fitr. If the moon is not seen due to an obstruction in the sky or cloudiness, or just generally the visibility is so poor that it cannot be seen, then the simple instruction is what? You just complete 30 days, meaning Friday will be fasting and Saturday will be Eid by default, because you cannot have 31 days in Islamic month. You can't have 28 days in an Islamic month. So the way to do it is to visibly look for the moon. And if the moon can be seen or not seen, you take the relevant course of action. That is then divided into two things. Is the moon to be sighted locally or is the moon to be sighted globally? And because communication is global, going with the local moon sighting, right, is problematic because communication is global. The other thing is, we went to the local moon sighting, as in Great Britain, local, we would always be doing 30 days every month. Because where we are at on the globe, the visibility for us is always poor. And if you always know we're going to do a local moon sighting in Great Britain, fine, every month will be 30 days. The rest of the world will be celebrating Eid al-Adha and we'll be still celebrating Eid al-Fitr. Proper TPs, eh? The other way to calculate or establish the moon is through calculating the birth of the moon. And this is the Shafi preferred opinion. They say that we will calculate the birth of the moon. Now that you can do a year in advance. Now there are some organizations in the UK, they're not generally Shafi'i. They follow the Hanafi madhab. What they've decided to do, that because there's so much confusion being caused, they're saying, well, we're going to go with the Shafi view and we will just go with moon calculation. And at the beginning of Ramadan, we'll say when Ramadan is going to begin. And we'll also tell you when Eid's going to be as well, so you can book your holidays from work. Mm-hmm. Now, these are problems that are occurring because everyone's coming out and making their announcement. And then a common person is saying, hold on, I don't get it. I thought we needed to sight the moon. But they're like, no, we're not following that approach. We're just following a calculation approach. But whatever approach is done, if there was a government and the government, Islamic government said, we're going to go with moon calculation, and we're going to go with the Shafi madhab, and we're going to go with moon calculation, that would be fine. But they would be in authority to authorize and communicate that. No single person can say, oh, I'm announcing Eid or I'm announcing Ramadan. You are not in a position or authorized to announce it locally or by yourself. Then you'll be arrested for that kind of stuff, for creating fitna in the community, creating strife. It's a governmental level thing. But because we've got no government, then everyone's got their own government. And every tariqah has their own prime minister and their own health secretary, and home secretary, and treasury minister, and everyone's got their own government internally. Then what happens is people then spend their time wasting precious moments of Ramadan arguing about things like this. What a waste. Like you're spending very last moments of Ramadan have been spent, oh, when's Eid, when's your Eid, they've been announcing this period said that. You're just wasting your Ramadan. Who cares when it's going to be? It's going to be when it's going to be. It's on Eid namaz. That's it. Put some new clothes on. There you go. So this is a problem we have in this country, that we don't have that governmental level. And it's a good problem in the way, but imagine there was a governmental level intervention. That wouldn't be good for us. Because if the British government now said, we're going to decide who's the imam of which mosque, we'd be in trouble. Because you know the kind of imams there would be, appointing. Yeah? We'd be in big trouble. So it's good that we're not controlled by the government like that. But then the problem is that we're always going to have these problems. Every year we've had them. Every year we're going to keep having them. Because no one's going to say, you know what? We appoint a council of scholars and you be the head. Because everyone wants to be the head. Why should I kind of submit to anybody else? That's one thing I want to mention. The other thing is this, that